You're listening to Straight Outta Stratford 203 with Zach and Julian, the best sports podcast in Connecticut. Sit back and enjoy the ride in 3, 2, 1.
Straight Outta Stratford, slinging takes like Stafford, talking all the big games, have a beer right after. When it comes to the facts and the stats we provide, better know that our names will be up in the rafters.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Straight Outta Stratford podcast, episode number 14. I'm your host, Zach, along with my co-host,
Julian. What's going on, guys?
What's up, guys? We got some NFL stuff going still. We're getting into the heat of it all right now. College football, and as well as the end of the MLB season coming in. Well, at least the MLB regular season coming in. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. But we're going to start off with something a little bit different than what we usually do. We're actually going to come out and start today with our personal rankings for what we think are the top 10 teams in the NFL this season. I know it's a little bit different. Usually we're doing a little recap of the weeks before, but we want to try something a little bit new and, kind of see how this goes. I'm kind of curious to see what Julian thinks about it, as well as, I'm curious to see what you guys think of my list as well as his. So we're going to go through our top 10s. You want to start us off? Who do you have as the number one team in football right now?
All right, so last night when I was making the list, I didn't put them at one, but that might have been because of a little bias. I don't like saying this,
Tiny bit,
but I have to put the Eagles at one. They're 3-0. If they played the same way that they did the first half, the second half of last Sunday's game against the Rams, I don't think I would have had them at one. I might have had them at like 4.
Yeah, no, it's possible.
Because if you look at week 1 and week 2, they didn't really play great. But you look at the second half of last Sunday's game and you're like, that's the Super Bowl champions that I remember. That's the offense that could score at will. The defense that blocked 2 field goals. Like it was inevitable that at some point this year they were going to wake up, and it just happened to happen against your Rams.
Yeah, of course it happened against my Rams, unfortunately. I also do have the Eagles at number 1. It's hard not to give them the number 1 spot. I mean, like you said, defending Super Bowl champs, 3-0 to start the year. They find ways to win. They beat the Chiefs again. They beat my Rams, even though it looked like the Rams had them dead in the water at one point during the game. But it's hard not to give them the number 1 spot right now until they lose a game. And even if they do, depending on who the opponent is, I think it's fair to say that right now on all sides of the ball, whether it be offense, defense, special teams, they are the most well-rounded team in the league this year. It's not a surprise. They're going to be considered as Super Bowl favorites once again, but there are teams that I think that can compete with them a little bit. They will be on this list as well, too. So it's hard. Again, it's very hard to say that the Eagles aren't number 1, so I'm glad we can at least agree on that. Number 2 in the league, I'll start this one off. I think the number 2 team in the league is the Buffalo Bills right now. I'm assuming you probably have them at number 2 as well.
I do have them at 2.
Yeah.
I could have put them at 1, but
yeah, I mean it
could go either way. You have the former, or not former. I mean, but like you have reigning MVP Josh Allen on the team, and you look at the team, and it more or less is the same as last year. If not, they didn't really add much to the team.
I don't really think they had to be honest. Maybe on the defensive side of the ball.
Only addition on the defensive side of the ball that I can think of is Joey Bosa. But I mean,
yeah, well,
what's Joey Bosa going to do now?
Well,
with how he is.
I think that they're still, even with the limited additions that they've made to this roster, it's hard not to.
I know. I'm not saying that they don't deserve to be at 2.
Oh no,
I'm saying that they could be at 1 because whatever they had with the pieces that they had last year got better.
Yeah, absolutely. You're seeing a emergence a little bit of Keon Coleman this year. He's starting to play a little bit better. Dalton Kincaid's actually got a little bit more action than what he's had in prior years as well. So that's a big thing. James Cook definitely has made a stride in his game. So there are a lot of offensive pieces that they have. That room is extremely impressive. The defense still could probably make some tweaks. I would not be surprised if that's what they focus on more before the trade deadline coming up. I'm going to take a guess and say they will.
I mean, the defense, yeah, I guess you could say that.
I think that that's probably one of their bigger flaws, which obviously they don't really have many, so that's why it's their bigger flaw. But I think that Buffalo right now, it's hard to debate them as the number 2 team as well. I think that's pretty solidified. Now, the number 3 team in the NFL. You could start off with that one. That's fine.
I have the Green Bay Packers.
Okay. Yeah. And now I'm not going to disagree with that. I think that the Green Bay Packers are definitely a valid option. So
when you look at the Packers, right, you see them completely blow the Lions out of the water week 1.
That they did.
And you're like, maybe this is the year that they go win the Super Bowl. Before the season, right before the season, they went and traded for Micah Parsons. They stole Micah Parsons from Dallas.
Yeah, kind of.
No, there's no kinda. Kenny Clark is 30 years old.
Well, they also did get some decent picks for him as well, too.
They got,
so it helps.
I think they got...
I believe it was 2 first rounds.
No, I think it was 1 first-round pick in Kenny Clark.
No, it was definitely 2 first-round picks in Kenny Clark. I'm almost positive it was. But
maybe it might have been 2, but
regardless,
he was valued at way more than that.
Yeah, no question. You can keep.
But what I'm saying is, you saw them add Kenny Clark. No, not Kenny Clark. You saw them add Micah Parsons. You saw them blow Detroit out of the water. Week 2, they beat the Commanders by 9. And that's with Micah Parsons on a snap count. Once Micah Parsons gets off that snap count, it's going to be...
Oh, yeah, big difference.
Big difference done. Like, the league is going to be... on their defense is going to be nasty.
Oh, yeah. They've already been so far.
The only thing that they can work on is their secondary, because I don't know who their corners are now that Jair Alexander's gone.
Yeah, it's definitely
corners, and I know the only safety I know that they have that is like notable is McKinney.
Yeah, well, that's because he's a former Giant. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, people are like, oh, they're not undefeated like the Rams, the Bills.
Well, the Rams aren't undefeated, actually.
Well, no, they're not undefeated like the Eagles, the Bills, the Chargers, the Bucks. They lost to the Browns. Yeah, but what you don't understand is that the Browns' defense is disgusting.
Yeah, it's a lot better than people think.
It's a lot better. The struggle for the Browns isn't the defense. It never was the defense.
Nope, it's going to be their offense.
It was the offense. It was the lack of production from the quarterback in the offensive scheme, and it was the amount of sacks and QB pressures that were allowed to let the defenders get to the quarterback. Also, it's the lack of weapons that they have on offense.
Yeah, it definitely is.
You have on offense, you only have 2 notable weapons. Well, now 3 with Judkins, but
he still has to.
He still has to. He's still on the rise. He's a rookie, but last season you had 2 notable weapons. You had Jerry Jeudy, and you had David Njoku.
Well, they also had Nick Chubb until he got hurt.
Chubb, but Nick Chubb wasn't that good last year.
He's still a good enough piece. He's still a weapon if you give him the opportunity to. But I do get what you're saying. Though, yes.
But the Browns defense, they drafted Mason Graham. They have Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
They still have Denzel Ward. They have Greg Newsome.
Yeah, they got a good team.
They have Grant Delpit. They have Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. They have a great defense. It's just the problem always was the offense.
Yeah, and their offense can't stay on the field, so you gas your defense out. It's
If Watson came to Cleveland and played how he played in Houston before the allegations came out, then that trade would have been looked at way differently
no doubt.
In the history of the NFL. Right now, that might be the worst trade that's happened in the more recent years.
Definitely one of the more.
If Watson came out and played like he did before he took the 2-year hiatus, 2 years he didn't play football because of the allegations and stuff, right? They could have made some noise.
Yeah, I agree with that too, and I think that's something that I probably said earlier on in earlier episodes of the podcast as well too. Is I said the Browns are going to be a lot better than people think they are.
You did say that.
Yeah, and I just said that, like, kind of the same thing you did. Is the biggest question mark that they had was, can their offense produce? And their offense so far has not really been able to produce. Now, granted, they did end up beating Green Bay. They didn't really get much production from their offense. Their defense stepped up. Green Bay's offense didn't really look as great. Now, granted, it is only one game. We talked about this before we even came in the studio. I think the big thing for me with the Packers is there's a big question mark with Jordan Love, which I said last week on the podcast as well, too.
Yeah.
He has moments where he looks very good, he's efficient, and he does his job. Their run game is good enough. Their receiver room is pretty decent. They don't have any standout guys that are going to be, considered as top receivers in the league, but the unit is good.
The unit is good, yes, but I mentioned this last week, and I don't know if this had something to do with it, that Jaden Breed is most likely out for the season.
Yeah, that could play a big part.
And Matthew Golden now has to take on the role of, I wouldn't say wide receiver 1. I'd say right now, since Matthew Golden's still a rookie, it could either be debatable between either him or Romeo Dobbs.
Yeah.
Right now, that's wide receiver 1. But what I'm saying is that there's no definite, slot.
Yeah,
for a wide receiver.
That was kind of my point too.
Yeah.
Is there's no number one solidified guy there right now.
Well, no, it was Jaden Reed.
It was, but still, it's not like having a Justin Jefferson. It's not like having a Jamar. It's not like having an Amon-Ra St. Brown or an AJ Brown, a Malik Neighbors, a Puka Nacua. Every one of the top teams that you look at has pretty much, except for maybe Buffalo and Baltimore, have solidified wide receiver number ones. They all do. Even the Chiefs could be a little questionable too, but that's because everybody's out right now.
Well, Rashee Rice.
Well, but that's what I'm saying.
He's
When he's back, he's your solidified wide receiver number 1. For me, of course, I know I'm going to get some hate for this one, but I'm still putting the Rams at number 3. They competed with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm sitting here right now, and as are you, if that field goal is made at the end of the game, I would be sitting here right now and the Rams would be 3-0 and they would have just beaten the number 1 team in football. They had them dead for 3 quarters. They got outplayed a little bit in the 4th quarter. I'm not going to sit here and say that, the Rams deserved to win that game. They did. They kind of did, but the Eagles are a good enough team to bounce back. The Rams let it slip out of their hands. But for me, I still think that when you have guys like Stafford, when you have guys like Nacua and Adams that they didn't really all connect as well in that game as what we would have thought they would. It was a little bit tougher of a game for them, but the fact that the defense held Saquon to 46 yards rushing on 18 attempts, the fact that they were able to generate turnovers and get pressure on Jalen Hurts throughout the game. Philadelphia is a good enough team to where they can make that comeback. There's not many other teams that I see, if the Rams do that to you, that they make that full comeback. So the Packers offense, for me, like I said, is still a big question mark with Jordan Love under center. I know what I'm going to get out of Stafford. I don't know what I'm going to get out of Love. So I'm still going to go with the Rams at 3. Again, you could call me biased, say whatever you want. The stats are going to prove it. The Rams are a good enough team. All they need to really focus on is building up that secondary. They lost to Kello Witherspoon to a broken collarbone last week or the week prior in their win against Tennessee, which definitely hurt them. But I would not be surprised if before the trade deadline, that's something that they really focus on, is getting a secondary piece to really help their back end. But their front 7 is extremely strong. They got a good offense that still needs to click a little bit better, but I still have the Rams at 3. But the Packers are not far behind, as I have them at number 4.
I have the Rams at 4.
See, so we flip-flop. I think that's fairly interchangeable because it really depends on a week-to-week basis what you're going to see. I just only put the Packers at 4, like I said, because Jordan Love is still a question mark for me. And that's something we'll talk about later on in the show because we do have some questions that we're going to ask one another here and kind of give a little bit of an idea of some beliefs of what we saw from the past week. But again, Rams and Packers 3 and 4 is really not that bad of an interchange, but I'm just going to put the Rams ahead because they have a little bit more experience. They've seen it in the playoffs from Stafford in 2021. They have a good enough team. It's just the secondary.
Right. So I have at number 5.
Number 5.
This may be, they deserve to be on the list, but you may think this might be a little high. I have the Bucs at 5.
Okay. Now, I'm really not surprised. I got to see what I had on my list. Okay. I don't really have them far off. For me, I have the Detroit Lions at 5.
I have them at 6.
And I have the Buccaneers at 6. But that's the reason why is the Lions first week came out against the Packers defense, really did not play that well. I believe they had less than 50 yards rushing the entire game from Montgomery and Gibbs. It was a tough outing. Obviously, Green Bay's defense is very good, as we've mentioned. But then they come out and they absolutely thrashed the Chicago Bears. Which
the Bears aren't good.
The Bears
at all.
are the Bears. But, they also beat the Cowboys this week. I know you were probably happy about
Cowboys
that.
aren't good. I legitimately don't care. The Giants might wind up with a better record than the Cowboys
It's
this year.
very possible. But the thing is, they came out and scored 52 points against them. And then they come out the following week, and I even picked the Ravens on the show last week to win against the Lions.
I think I took the Lions. I think I took the Lions last week.
You may have. I got to look back at the tape and see if you ended up taking them. I think you may have taken the Ravens, though, because I think we agreed on it. It may be close. But regardless, they came out and beat the Ravens in Baltimore. Now, there's a lot of question marks with Baltimore's defense because they have not looked good to start this year. Highest scoring offense in the league, but also a 1-2 record from them. So it can kind of go a little bit that way. I see it. For me, the only reason why I have Detroit there is because, again, the offensive weapons are there. The defense looked extremely good against Baltimore. They were forcing fumbles on Derrick Henry late in the game. They sacked Lamar Jackson 7 times in the game. That's a defense that looks like it's made a step after the first couple weeks of the season, and I think that's going to continue to grow. I like the environment that Dan Campbell's given all of his Lions players. It's a very different culture than what they've had in prior years. So I think that with the Lions' schedule, the way that they've had it so far, going up against Green Bay and then Baltimore, I have to put the Lions at 5 right now.
I believe the Lions have like a little gauntlet the next couple weeks.
I also think that they should. I was remembering looking at their schedule, and I think it's a little tougher down the line.
I saw it like this morning.
Well, that's the thing is if they do have this tougher schedule, that's going to be big make or break. That's going to be big make or break for the Lions as well, too, because if they can come out and win some of those tougher games, I wouldn't be surprised to see them move up the list. I even wrote that on here. I said there are a lot of questions about if other top defensive units can hold their offense to lower production, but if they can continue doing what they're doing on offense and their defense can step up the way it did against Baltimore, I definitely think that there's no doubt that they can end up cracking the top 3 at some point this year.
So, not this week. Next week.
Who do they play this week?
This week they play the Browns.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's the Browns, correct.
And then they play the Bengals. And then it's Chiefs.
Chiefs. Is that week 6? Yeah, that would be week 6. So that's still the week before Rashee Rice comes back. That's the week right before he comes back.
Chiefs, Bucks, Vikings, Commanders,
it could probably be Washington.
Eagles.
That's a tough one.
And then they get a free win against the Giants.
Yeah, free win against the Giants. That's right.
And then they play the Packers again.
It's not as bad as I thought.
Then they get another free win against the Cowboys.
I'm telling you, they have it.
And then they play the Rams.
That's a loss for them.
Then they play the Steelers.
It's coming.
And then they have the Vikings and the Bears.
Yeah, see, for me, I think that they're good enough to win a lot of those games. There's a couple of them, like the Eagles and Rams, that are big question marks.
I think right now the Packers are the favorite to win the division.
I'm still sitting there saying the same thing, but it's possible.
It's possible that the Lions, with their schedule,
kind of fade off a little bit.
Not fade off, but what I'm saying is with their schedule, if they keep playing the way that they do, they will be. Maybe I wouldn't be surprised if they do become the favorites to win the division at some point during the year.
Like I said, that's why I currently just have them at 5 behind the Packers, is because right now the Packers are the favorites to win the division. I'm not going to dispute that. I think the defense is good enough. But I think that the Lions, out of the majority of the games you said, I think there's maybe 3 of them that I would say are going to be extremely tough games for them. Now, Granted, that doesn't mean that they're going to lose those games. Doesn't mean they're going to win those games. Those
Eagles,
are going to be
Packers,
tough
Rams.
Those are 3 tough games. They may not win any of those games. They may win all of them. They may win half of or one of them. You don't know. But those are the 3 toughest games they have.
You could also add the Commanders in there only because they did knock them out of the playoffs.
That's true, but I don't think that happens again. Not to be mean about the Commanders, because again, we'll get to that. But if the Lions play the way they did the past couple weeks,
they're playing in Washington though.
Doesn't matter to me. They went into Baltimore and beat Baltimore. If they can go into Baltimore and beat Baltimore, they can go into Washington and beat Washington. I'm sorry. It's not a shot.
Now we're talking about the Bucks here.
Yeah, the Bucks I had at 6. The only reason why I have them at 6 right now is just because if you look at the schedule they've played so far. Now, this is not a shot at their schedule either, because they do have teams on here that are currently right now have a combined winning record of 1-8 in the first 3 games. Especially, they struggled with the Falcons, who just got blown out by the Panthers 30-0. right?
Right.
They only beat them by a missed field goal, which ended up getting Younghoe Koo kicked from their team. He got cut. Then they ended up losing to the Texans, or beating the Texans, sorry. I believe it was a 1-point game. They came down and won on a touchdown pass with like 9 seconds left in the fourth quarter. The Texans had that game pretty much sealed up too, but Baker Mayfield did show a lot of grit and determination, came back and won. That's a good win for the Bucs, but still, the Texans are shorthanded on offense, and the Buccaneers really didn't seem like they had a ton of momentum up until later in the game when they finally did come down the field and win. So it's hard for me to really say that, but the one that kind of surprised me was the fact that they almost blew the game against the Jets. They're running Tyrod Taylor out as their backup quarterback. You figure that they run away with that game, and they let them right back into it.
I'm saying this. Tyrod Taylor, yes, he is their backup quarterback.
I know where you're going with
but
this.
He is a serviceable starter on a handful of teams in the NFL.
That is,
I believe the Giants are one of them. If they kept him, I wouldn't have been mad. I said it last Sunday. I know they're starting Dart. I'm happy they're starting Dart, but I don't think it's the right time to start him. Like you said a few episodes ago.
Yeah, and we'll get to that too.
I think
that's a question.
They could start Winston. Well, you're not
Well,
going
they could, but I don't know.
You're not going to throw Russell Wilson back out there. You can't.
No, after that you cannot.
You can't.
No.
But they don't have another quarterback on the roster aside from Winston.
Yeah, they should have kept Tommy Cutlets. But I get your point.
But it doesn't make sense to have 4 quarterbacks on one roster.
No, it doesn't. Well, they could have had him on a practice squad too. But like I said, the Bucs played a fairly easy schedule so far.
Their schedule does get a little tough.
Their schedule does get a little bit tougher. And next week, or this upcoming weekend, they have to play the Eagles.
They play the Eagles.
That's going to be a big turning point game for them. If they come out and win that game, they deserve to go very, very high up on my list.
Okay.
But if they end up not being competitive in that game,
the 3 toughest games on the schedule I have right now, right? I see them, there's 4.
The Eagles this week.
There's 4 games where if they win, if they come out and they play and they compete, then it's like, okay, maybe the Bucs are
the Rams are, I think, one of them, no?
Yes. Eagles, Rams, Lions, Bills.
Yeah. Those are 4 big games for them. Very big games for them.
If they win at least 2 out of those 4 games, then you could be like, well, maybe the Bucs are actually good.
But that's my point.
This week is gonna be tough for them because they're without Chris Godwin.
No, Godwin comes back and they're without Mike Evans this week.
Godwin's playing this week?
Godwin will be back this week. They already said that he was practicing this week. Reinforcements are coming on the way, as will Tristan Wirfs. So those are big additions for them.
Yeah, but realistically, they're going to put Godwin on a snap count.
Well, they probably will, but I think it's still going to be a tougher game for them anyway because
Philadelphia is good. They're gonna have to lock down their offense, which is tough to do in general. Like the Chiefs had trouble with that, and the Chiefs' defense is not bad.
Nope.
Then you have on the Bucs' offensive side, you have to. Their defense is just good.
Well, we already know that with the Eagles. Like I said, they're the number 1 team in the league for a reason. But going back to the point of the Buccaneers are 3-0 to start. It's no disrespect to them. I like their team a lot. I think they have a lot of determination and, like I said, grit before. I think that, again, we'll talk about this at some point. But for me, I just believe that they need to prove a little bit more for me to put them higher up on my ranking. And it's no disrespect. It's just I want to see them compete against some of these top teams. Because if they come out and get flatlined by the Eagles next week, then maybe they don't deserve to be as high up on this ranking. So that's just the way I feel.
I do think they are the favorites to win that division. I know they've won it. They've won it for the last.
With the division they're in, yes. Yeah. Yes. The Panthers, no. The Saints, no. The Falcons, no.
No.
Yeah, the Bucs are easy favorites to win that division. But moving on.
Now at 7, I have the Ravens.
I also have the Ravens at 7. Now, a lot of people are probably going to sit here and go, why in the hell do you have the Ravens at 7 for both of us?
You saw the game they played against Detroit. The defense didn't look great. Derrick Henry continues to have trouble holding on to the football.
That's a very surprising issue from him.
It is very surprising from a running back like him who eclipsed 2,000 yards a few seasons ago and who's known to be one of the better backs in the league. You'd never really see him fumble.
No,
he fumbled
it's
against
rare.
Buffalo and he fumbled against Detroit.
Yeah.
You don't see that happen.
It's very shocking that you're seeing this from Derrick Henry, but I don't think this is something that's going to be a long-term issue.
No, I think he'll figure that out. But
I
what
agree.
I'm saying is that you have the offense, and you look at the offense, right? And when you're preparing to play the Ravens, there's one thing that your defensive coordinator is going to tell you to stop.
The run.
And once you figure out how to stop it, the Ravens don't know what to do.
Well,
I'm not saying that they don't know what to do, because their solidified wide receiver one is Zay Flowers. I'm not taking away from his
who's been stellar this year for them.
I'm not taking away from his athletic ability, but you're taught to make sure you stop the run, number one, and two, stop. This goes along with the run, but stop the read option. If you can figure out a way to shut Lamar Jackson down on in the running game, he's not gonna. I'm not gonna say he doesn't know what to do, because he's obviously, we talked about this last week. He's obviously learned how to make better reads and decisions when it comes to passing the football.
Yep.
But he's gonna panic a little bit.
He will.
Because if you take away, not even him gaining yards, but if you take away his ability to roll out of the pocket and create time for him for something to come open,
Extending plays,
if
yeah.
you make him stay in the pocket and sit in the pocket, I think he will
Make a mistake?
not make a mistake, but he'll panic.
A little bit now.
Not like leading him to make a mistake, but he'll be like, it'll take him like 2 or 3 plays to be like, okay, I have to change my game plan.
That's true. Now, the only reason why I'm going to say that they're sitting at 7 right now is, granted, they are 1-2. But if you look at their roster, if the defense for them usually ends up starting to solve itself a little bit in the second half of the season. That's a trend that they usually do go through. Their offense or their defense starts really slow. But look at the weapons they have on offense. If Lamar, Derrick Henry, Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, DeAndre Hopkins, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. They have a very, very good offense.
They do have a very good offense.
They have the number 1 scoring offense in football right now.
And their O-line isn't that bad either.
Yeah.
They have Ronnie Stanley.
They are going to figure things
Tyler
out.
Linderbaum.
They've run into 2 of the best teams that they're probably going to play all year. This week is probably going to be the third hardest week for them.
They're playing the Chiefs.
Yeah, they play the Chiefs this week, but their 2 losses come against the Lions, who are very good, and the Bills, who are the favorites to win the AFC as of right now. You cannot discredit the Ravens and say that they're not a good enough team.
Well, I have a friend who is a Ravens fan, and in my fantasy group chat, somebody said that Derrick Henry sold their game, sold their matchup, and he goes, "This team just isn't that good." And usually, well, I don't know if he was talking about the team in general. He might have just been talking about the defense.
He's probably talking about the defense. There's no way.
Usually he's like excited. He's like, no, this team's going to turn it around. He didn't even say that. He goes, the team just isn't the same this year as it was last year.
But see, I think he's panicking a little bit too early. It's like I said, they lost in a 41-40 ball game against the best team in the AFC in the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, but they shouldn't have lost that game.
They shouldn't. You're right. But again, if you're going to lose to anybody by a 1-point game and it's the Bills, it's not that bad.
No.
Not that. And especially, I'm pretty sure that game was in Buffalo, no?
Yeah.
I'm almost positive it was in Buffalo.
I mean, I'm looking at it right now. There's no need for Ryan, there's no need to panic. Like, their schedule, if you look at their schedule, it's one of the easier schedules that they have.
That's my point.
In the league.
They're going to find ways.
After the Chiefs, it's literally a cakewalk up until week...
Probably 12 or 13, maybe.
Week 15.
Yeah, of course.
Because after the Chiefs, they play the Texans. Actually, no, not after this week. After week 6. After they play the Rams.
That's a tough game for them too.
So they play the Chiefs, they play the Texans, and then they play the Rams.
After
the Rams, they play the Vikings. They play the Bears.
That's a winnable game.
Dolphins, Vikings, Browns, Jets, Steelers.
Okay.
Wait, no, it's Bengals then Steelers.
Those are all winnable games.
Bengals, Steelers, Patriots, And then the next toughest game after that is the Packers in Week 15.
See, that's a run that they're going to get hot. They're going to find ways to win those games. They're not that bad of a team. The defense just needs to tighten up. And like I've said, we've seen it in other years from them. Offense looks really good to start. Defense has its moments where it looks okay, and then it kind of collapses a little bit. They will turn this around. They have a good enough head coach. They have good enough players on their team. Even their defense, like we started before the season, they have some weapons in that secondary for that defense. They will figure out a way to start winning games, which is why I have them at 7. It's hard not to put them at 7.
Now,
and
at 8.
At 8, I have the Chargers.
I have the Chargers as well.
Now, we're going to get flack for that one, too, because everyone's going to go, well, you put the Bucks, you put the Rams, you put the Packers, you put the Lions, you put the Ravens. Why did you not put the Chargers? Now, granted, I will say this. The Chargers definitely deserve respect. There's a reason why they're up in this list. They have a very good team. That being said, they beat the Kansas City Chiefs, who were down Rashee Rice, and they lost Xavier Worthy early. It was a good game, very close. Herbert's been looking very good. That was a good game.
That was a good game.
Then I believe they came out and they ended up beating the Denver Broncos.
They did beat the Broncos.
That was another close game. Now, the thing with the Broncos is I could see it coming a little bit. Like we saw a sophomore slump out of C.J. Stroud, I figured you may see one a little bit out of Bo Nix.
Well,
a little bit.
Well, Bo Nix played fairly well that week.
He played okay that week, but still not near what he was at the end of last year or from the middle to the end of last year. He looked very, very good. I was very impressed by him at the end of last season. He didn't really look as great that week. Even the defense, which is supposed to be their number one unit, really didn't impress me too much against the Chargers.
They played the Chiefs, then they played the
Raiders. That's who it was. Okay. Yeah, but you know what? See, that's why I kind of breezed over them. The Raiders, again, even with Genty and Pete Carroll and getting Geno, I wasn't a fan of the Geno move. I'm sorry. Raiders are not that good.
I wasn't. To say I'm not a fan of the Geno move is
it's an upgrade of what they had.
Is wrong because it's an upgrade of what they had
with Gardner Minshew starting.
What I'm not a fan of is what they did after they acquired Geno.
Well, and then they had Aiden O'Connell too, who actually got hurt. So
if they just traded for Geno and were like, we're gonna use him as a bridge quarterback until we get our next guy, I would have been like, all right.
That may be what they're doing. But I don't know.
No, but Pete Carroll's like, you know what? I'm gonna give Geno $30 million to be my quarterback. Like, I don't agree with that.
I'm telling you, I was skeptical of it as well, too, but I just don't see the Raiders being that great. But going back to the Chargers situation, like I said, they've played 3 games, all against divisional opponents, which are going to be tough games. We know that. It doesn't matter how good or bad a team is record-wise. Divisional games are always usually tougher. But their schedule is a little bit weaker than what I've seen. Now, the reason why I have them sitting at 8, though, is do you think if they matched up against any of the teams that we said before them, that they win those games? I'm a little skeptical.
Let me think. Let me see.
You think the Chargers beat the Eagles?
Not the Eagles. Eagles or Bills, no.
Rams? I don't think they beat the Rams either. I'm sorry. I don't think they beat the Packers.
The Rams, it would be close.
It would be closer, but I don't think they beat the Rams. The Packers, I don't know if they beat the Packers either.
The Packers, no.
Do you think they beat the Lions, especially if the Lions play the way they've been playing? I don't think so. That one will be closer.
It depends, because if you look at Herbert, right? If you look at Herbert's stats, against the Chiefs, he was 25 of 34 with 318 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I'm not discrediting him.
No. But then you look at the Chiefs' defense, right? And the Chiefs' defense is really good.
Yeah, they are.
Really, really good. They held the Eagles to under 100 yards passing, I believe.
Yeah.
Because of Chris Jones said that thing to Jalen Hurts at the end of the game. You don't even have 100 yards.
Yeah, and then he said we won the Super Bowl, and we won the game. But
and then you look at the Broncos. The Broncos defense, which is real. The Broncos defense is good. You can't say they're not good.
Well, they also got lit up by Daniel Jones as well too. So maybe they're not as good as people are thinking. Now, granted, the Colts are better than people think as well too.
Exactly. But the Colts offense is one of the best offensive lines in the game. You're giving Daniel Jones. I'm a Giants fan. I'm not saying Daniel Jones isn't talented. He's very talented. We just didn't give him the right opportunity.
I agree
and
with
they
that.
they give the Colts offensive line gives him the time and the pocket that he needs, so he doesn't have to go out and use his legs to create. Because once he gets out of the pocket and uses his legs to create plays, is when usually most of the time when he makes his mistakes.
That's agreeable. I agree with that.
But Herbert put up 300 yards against the. If you look at the Lions defense and you look at the Rams defense, and you said the Rams are down to Keller Witherspoon right now, I could maybe see them beating both of those teams.
It's possible.
It's possible. But the only team I could see them definitely beating is the Bucs. I could see them dog walking all over the Bucs.
I could see them beating the Bucs, but like I said, I don't even know if they beat the Ravens. If the Ravens play the way that we know that they can and the offense rolls and the defense steps up a bit, there's a lot of teams that I'm not sure if they beat them yet. Now, they still, again, this is not disrespect to the Chargers. They're a very good team. Justin Herbert has looked much, much better this year. If they can continue that.
Herbert is the second leading passer in the NFL right now. He has 860 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception.
Yeah. But, again, I'm going to say this again. I want to see him do that more consistent. It's been 3 games still, too. And it's no disrespect to the Chargers.
Well, it's like I said last week, right? I said that I saw somewhere online that they said that the Bears aren't going to be as good as people think they're going to be with Ben Johnson this year, only because it takes 2 years to install a new system and a new offense. I remember
you saying that.
And this is it takes a year, right?
Yep.
This is Harbaugh's second year with the Chargers. Last year, Herbert didn't look bad, but he's looking better this year because it's his second year in the system. It's fully installed, and he doesn't have to worry, or he's probably used to it and comfortable with the system by now.
Yeah, no, it's not to crap on the Chargers.
Another thing I'm going to say real quick is that the Dolphins had the ability to draft Justin Herbert, and they're like, nah.
And they took Tua.
We're taking Tua.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just going to say that quickly.
That's a big question mark as well, too. But, again, like I said, I just want to see more consistency out of the Chargers. That's the only reason why I have them at 8. I think that their record is very, very good. I think that they have a good chance at finishing 10-7 or better.
Well,
I just want to see that be a consistent theme throughout the year. If they can do that, then they deserve to be higher up on the list. But I want to see them start beating some very good quality opponents.
So
look at their schedule, and I'm curious to see what you think of some of those games.
This week is going to be a win. They play the Giants.
Well, yeah. So they'll be 4-0.
It could be close. It depends on how Dart plays.
I'm going with the Chargers still. There's no question on that.
I might pick the Chargers, but if the Giants win, I won't be surprised.
Okay, but then look who
Then
else?
they have the Commanders.
That's going to be a tougher game for them.
Tougher game, but I could see them winning that. Dolphins, they should win. Colts might be.
Colts will be a tough one for them.
Vikings, they should win. Titans, they should win. Steelers could be a little Jaguars, they should win. Raiders, they already beat them. It should not be a problem. The Eagles on December 8th is their only game that I think could be a issue.
It would be the Chiefs again later on in the season for them because they will be fully recouped with Worthy and Rasheed. That game
they play the Eagles and Chiefs back-to-back weeks.
Now if they come out and they split those games or they win both, they deserve to be number 1, number 2, number 3 on the list, no question. But again, look at some of the teams that they've played. I'm pretty sure the Chiefs have won 1 game. The Broncos have won 1 game. The Raiders have won 1. So far, I believe their combined record is 3-6? 3-6 so far to start the year. I want to see them beat some top-tier teams. If they do that, they will move up for me. That's the only reason why I have them at 8. It is no disrespect to the Chargers or Chargers fans. Don't get mad at me for it. But I want to see consistency. I want to see it.
Now,
it's still a little early.
At number 9, I have the Colts.
I will agree with that. I also have the Colts as well, too. Now, this is where I'll also say this a little bit, too. Just like I said with the Chargers, 3-6 against, that's their opposing team's records, all combined together, is their 3-6. I can't say the same about the Colts. The teams that they've played have a combined record of 1-8. They beat the Dolphins. They beat the Titans, and they beat the Broncos. Now, again, nobody would have ever seen this coming out of Daniel Jones. They do have a good O-line.
I wouldn't say nobody, but
trust me, after the way he played with the Giants, I'm not saying that it's solely the Giants' fault, but there were not many people that were saying, "Oh, Daniel Jones is going to go to Indianapolis. They're going to start out 3-0." Would you have told me that they were going to start 3-0 to start the year? No.
Malik Neighbors would have though.
Well,
no, because he said it last year when they released Daniel Jones. He was asked in a press conference, "What are your thoughts on?" I don't know if it was when they released him or when they benched him. They said, "What are your thoughts on them switching quarterbacks?" He goes, "It's not the quarterback is not the problem." He said it 3 times. The quarterback is not the problem.
Well, we know it's not.
The quarterback is it's not the quarterback's it's not Jones's fault.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't necessarily his fault. I agree with that too, and I'm glad Malik Neighbors stuck up for him as well. But my thing is, again, me and you could both sit here before the season started. If you looked at me and looked at their schedule through the first couple weeks, would you have said to me, Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts are going to start out 3-0 this season?
No.
I would have told you were smoking crack. I'm sorry.
They play the Rams this week. I think they lose.
They're going to lose that week. Again, Rams fan bias. Of course he's going to say that. I think that the Rams do give them a little bit of trouble. The Rams need a bounce-back win this week. But again, it's no disrespect to the Colts. I think that they've been good so far over the first couple weeks. I'd love to see how they do. I think it's going to be a closer game against the Rams. I'm not going to say that the Rams are going to blow them out of the water. I don't think they will. I think the Colts are a lot better of a team than people think. They have weapons on both sides of the ball, even though the names may not be as big. Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, Tyler Warren, Jonathan Taylor, very good O-line. Daniel Jones looks good. The defense has been solid. They're going to be a much better team throughout the rest of the year, which is why I have them at 9. I'd love to put them higher right now, even though they're 3-0, but I'm not going to sit here and say that they're going to beat the Bucs. They're not going to beat the Ravens. I don't know if they beat the Rams. I don't think they beat the Eagles. I don't think they beat the Chargers. There are a lot of teams that if you match up the Colts with these teams in front of them, I don't know if they win those games. It's the only reason why I have them at 9. And the last team that we have on this list, and I think you also have them on the list as well, too.
Well,
this one is going to be judged.
You weren't going to put them on the list.
I was not. And then I kind of thought about it and realized I made a mistake a little bit, too.
Because the way I thought about it was right. Well, for starters, it was number 10, we both had the Kansas City Chiefs.
Correct.
And when I said I had Chiefs at 10, he looked at me and he goes, "No, you're crazy." I'm like, "Look at it. They lost 2 games, but look at who they lost to." And he goes, "Well,
they did lose to the Chargers, who were on this list."
He goes, "Well, you're not wrong about that."
And they lost to the Eagles.
Both teams that they lost to are 3-0. Granted, we just spoke about the Chargers and who they played, but they're still 3-0, and they beat the Chiefs. Yeah, that's not an easy.
And now, granted, the Chiefs did only beat the Giants, but again, we've talked on this already multiple times throughout this. They're shorthanded. They still don't have a majority of their wide receivers. Their run game has not been able to really do what it's needed to do, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that the offense isn't fully healthy because, like a lot of people know, if you can get the run game going, the passing options are going to start opening up because the defense is going to start playing different strategically.
The one thing I will say is that, yes, they're beat up, but putting them at 10, I can understand why you don't think that it's necessary because they're like I watched the entire game last Sunday, which I don't know why I did that. It was a waste of my time. Absolute waste of my time.
You're a fan.
But there were several times where the Chiefs or Mahomes just did what they did, and it just didn't make sense to me. No, I watched it because I started Mahomes last week. That's why I watched the full game.
Oh, for fantasy football?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, again,
and because I'm a fan too.
Well, yeah. For me, it's just
there's one play in particular where Mahomes goes to throw a check down to Pacheco.
Oh, where it went backwards?
Yes. And Pacheco turns the wrong way. If he turned the correct way, he could have caught the ball and ran easily for 30 yards.
Well, you want to know something that's real messed up?
What?
I have Isaiah Pacheco in both my fantasy leagues.
Pacheco ran the wrong way. Mahomes threw a backward pass,
I was debating dropping him after watching that play. That play was so bad to watch. I watched that game as well, too, because obviously it's the Sunday night game. If you're not watching the Sunday night football game as a football fan, you're not doing something right. I don't care who the hell's playing. But it's just, I originally wanted to put the Commanders on this list. I thought about putting the 49ers on this list at some point. It's
the
just
49ers schedule is it's just a cakewalk.
It's
one of the easier schedules that
in
they
football.
have in football.
It is.
I will say I also thought about putting them on this list only because you look at who got them 2 of their wins in Mac Jones.
Yeah.
And
that's the reason why.
That's the reason why I'm like, okay, you know what? If Mac Jones is playing this well, he's obviously not going to be the starter when Brock Purdy's available to come back. But
it's plus the injuries for the whole team.
Both team. Well, now Nick Bosa's out, right?
Bosa's out with an ACL tear. You still have Brandon Ayuk out. They're finally getting Demarcus Robinson back after he served his 3-game suspension for the DUI he got last year when he was on the Rams. Who else do they currently have? They still have George Kittle out. He's on IR, so he's out for, I think,
Pearsall's
1 more week.
questionable. Jawan Jennings is questionable.
And then still no Brock Purdy. So they're finding ways to win games even shorthanded, which is why I'm like, it's hard not to put them on the list, but at the same time, like we brought up, their schedule so far has been atrocious. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they beat the Cardinals, they beat the Seahawks, and who else did they beat? Oh my God, it was someone else that was really bad too. And I was just like, I'm pretty sure I picked against them to win that game too. Who was it?
Saints.
There you go. No wonder why I can't think of them. It's the Saints. But see, look at that schedule,
their
man.
Their schedule is too easy. They play
the Jaguars this week.
They play the Jags, and then they play the Rams.
They're getting their first L on Thursday Night Football. They're not, especially if those guys aren't healthy. They're not winning that game.
After the Rams, they play the Bucks. Then they play the Falcons.
They'll beat the Falcons.
Then they have the Texans.
I don't know if the Texans beat them.
And then they have the Giants.
I'm rooting for the Giants that week.
Yeah, man. Watch party in my house.
Yeah, I'm down.
We got 49ers and the Rams the week after. Then they have the Cardinals again. And then after the Cardinals, they literally don't have another. Well, I'm not going to say that. They play the Panthers, the Browns, the Titans.
Oh, my.
Three wins.
That is one of the worst schedules I've ever seen.
The 3-week stretch should be a win.
Whoever made that schedule is a 49ers fan.
After the Titans, they play the Colts. Dude, and then they play the Bears and the Seahawks to finish off their season. The people that
made the 49ers schedule this year are all 49ers fans. That's so bad.
They're going to go to the playoffs this year, and they're going to get their ass kicked, and people are going to be like, I thought this team was supposed to be good because of the record, but the record's going to be deceiving. We're saying this now. The 49ers may end up with 10-plus wins this year.
And they don't deserve
that. But they do not deserve it.
I'm sorry. Well, obviously, again, the 49er fans are going to get mad at me because obviously I'm a Rams fan.
No, I don't care.
I don't care.
I'm not a Rams fan. I have nothing against the 49ers. Their schedule is just too easy.
Yeah.
You could give the Giants the same schedule and they'd be in the same exact position that they're in right now.
Yeah, I just can't believe that. But I know one thing. They're copping at least 2 L's from the Rams this year. We're beating them both times. Because especially if they're banged up the way that they are, the Rams, that is the one game that the Rams have circled on their schedule.
And another thing I'm saying this, they're one Christian McCaffrey injury away from their season being over. If Christian McCaffrey gets hurt, their season's done.
They're done.
They're done.
So, yeah, that's not really a surprise. But we'll kind of get off the rankings now because we did give you our full 10. I did want to put either the Commanders or 49ers. Like I said, it's just the scheduling and certain matchups for now don't have them on the list. That will change because I think we'll wait a couple weeks and then we'll end up doing another like mid-season ranking right before. I'd say like week 8 or week 9 we may do one just to kind of give you that halfway point and see how things are trending. But then I do want to kind of talk about the New York Giants and Jets right now. This is something I knew that you probably wouldn't be a fan of, but I'm going to have to talk about it.
I'm not.
So, to start out the season, again, I don't know what it is with New York sports, but so far it's a recurring theme for everything. Maybe not for baseball now that the Yankees are in the playoffs, which again, let's not focus on them. We'll talk about them at the end to close out the show. They're 0-6 to start the year, both teams. Both 0-3 as of right now. The Jets are, however, in year one under new head coach Aaron Glenn.
Who had amazing dance moves, by the way.
He had phenomenal dance moves, which I saw them put over Earth, Wind, and Fire,
Yes,
which was perfect.
September.
Yeah, that was perfect.
You know what's funny about that? That game was on the 21st of September.
Yeah.
So it fit perfectly.
It did fit perfectly, which is well, no, because today's what, the 20? Oh yeah, no, it may have been. That's pretty cool. Anyway, so you have them going into year one under Aaron Glenn. The Giants, however, are in year 4 with Brian Daboll.
I don't know what happened. They went 9-8 first year that Daboll was there.
9-7-1.
9-7-1. Okay, they tied with. Yes, that's right. They tied. No, wait, who did they tie with? Was it the?
I forget who they tied with, but I know that they had a tie.
Was it the? I don't know who they tied with that year.
I don't remember who it was either, but still, the reason why I know that
they went to the playoffs. They won a game
against the Minnesota Vikings.
Granted, it's the Vikings, but they won a game, and then they just went and completely went back downhill.
Yeah, this is where I'm going to head with this. So both teams have been absolutely brutal to watch over the last 10 seasons. Now, if you look at their records, both teams over the last 10 years, the Giants are 57, 107, and 1, with the one tie that came in that 1 year where they went 9-7-1. The Jets have a record of 56 and 110. That's pretty bad. That's very, very bad.
One thing I will say, right, is that as Giants fans, we didn't have to wait 16 years and counting to go play in a playoff game.
No.
That's the one thing I am happy about.
Yeah.
The Giants made up the playoffs. They won a wild card game. They lost in the divisional round, but at least they're not the Jets, who haven't made the playoffs since 2010, which I believe is utterly sad
and embarrassing.
And very embarrassing.
Well, that's what I was kind of getting to, is even I have friends who are both Jets and Giants fans. I feel bad for both of anybody who's a Jets fan or a Giants fan. I do genuinely feel bad because I see how my friends are week to week, and it's sad to see them act the way that they do, knowing that they can't even enjoy a Sunday or a Monday or a Thursday, depending on when they play, because the chances are when you turn the game on and sit there for 3.5 hours, by the end of those 3.5 hours, you're walking away going, why the hell did I just watch that? So I get it. Now, the thing that the Jets fans are a little bit frustrated about is the fact that Aaron Glenn, after they started 0-3, came out in his post-game press conference, and his quote was, "We're not the same team as everyone says, same old Jets." And a lot of people were like, what are you talking about? What do you mean you're not the same? You're 0-3. That's the same old Jets.
Okay.
It's year one.
It's year one.
It's
year one with Aaron Glenn, right? But they put up 26 points.
Yeah, they played well against every team that they played against except Buffalo, which granted...
Buffalo is Buffalo, but Justin Fields balled out against the Steelers.
Yeah.
They got dogged by Buffalo, but that was expected because it's Buffalo.
And then they put up a great fight against Tampa Bay. I thought Tampa was going to blow them out.
If it was same old Jets, they wouldn't have scored 30 points by now.
No. Not at all. They probably would have went multiple weeks where they scored less than 10 points. That is not same old Jets. So for a lot of Jets fans that are out there saying, oh, this team still sucks, blah, blah, blah. Now, granted, they do stink a little bit. Of course, they're still 0-3. But the fact that people are about ready to give up on Aaron Glenn, it's been 3 weeks, people. You got a lot of time to turn things around. I'm not saying that you're going to end up finishing the year with a winning record or that you're going to make the playoffs. It's going to take time, though. He's starting out with a unit that's really not even his.
You have all the pieces.
Well, yeah. The defense has not looked very good for them. They've had their moments, but that's supposed to be their strong suit.
Right? On offense.
Offense, there's a lot of big question marks.
You have Garrett Wilson,
who's good.
And you have Breece Hall, who I believe could get moved at the deadline.
I would not be surprised they do, but I do like their backup running back in Braylon Allen a lot. I think that he's very good.
Their offensive line is a lot better than people give credit for.
I agree on that too.
They have a great guard in Elijah Vera Tucker. They have Fashanu. I don't know how to say his first name. I'm not going to try and pronounce it. I don't want to butcher it. They just drafted Armand Membu.
Yep. They do have their team is not bad. It's going to, like we said before, like you said, it's going to take more than 1 year to officially settle in.
It hasn't even been a year. It's been 3 weeks.
That's what I'm saying. It's been 3 weeks, and everyone's about ready to quit on him. I get why Jets fans are like this, is because they're growing impatient of seeing losing seasons over and over and over, and it's understandable. I get it, but I can promise you, okay, I've been a Rams fan since they were in St. Louis.
Well,
I watched them have some of the worst seasons, and I was like, why the hell am I even watching? And here we are. I stuck it all the way out, and now the Rams are actually a very, very good football team. They won a Super Bowl. They've been competitive. Things will change under new head coaches. It's going to take some time, so don't give up on the Jets after week 3.
Well, another thing, all right, with Jets fans is you might also be a little mad at me for saying this.
Okay.
Most Jets fans are also Mets fans. So they're not only impatient with not going to the playoffs and having a losing season and being disappointed by their football team
either.
They can't even watch baseball. I'm a Giants fan and I'm a Yankees fan. At least I can watch baseball.
Well, I will one-up you. Actually, I think it could be worse because most of the time, I know this is a pretty
they like the Mets, the Jets, and the Nets, and then the Islanders.
And the Islanders. And all of those teams have been awful. So, again, this is where I'll end up getting. I'm going to get to the Giants, but I do have something that I want to say at the end of that to kind of transition a little bit. So, I get the frustration, but things are going to end up hopefully turning around at some point. The Giants, on the other hand, also really have not played that well. They've been more competitive, at least in the one game against Dallas.
Well, Dallas is awful this year. They came out and they said, this is our year. And I was getting my haircut the other day, and one of the other barbers in the shop is a Cowboys fan. He goes, I don't know why everyone was saying this is our year. We're gonna have 3 wins. They're not going to get more than 3 wins.
They're not going to be good. But
I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Dak is not a good quarterback. I do not like his quarterback
He may
play.
need an environment change, to be completely honest with you.
They gave him almost, I think it was $250 or close to $300 or something. They gave him a lot of money. I don't think he was worth that money, and now they didn't have enough money to pay Micah Parsons. You had Dak Prescott, who didn't really do much for you because he's either A, been hurt, or B, not really played well in the postseason. Another thing, Jerry Jones has to go. I don't care if you bring him out, if you kick him out, or you tell him you're done, even though he doesn't want to sell the team, force him. He had Ezekiel Elliott playing center with 14 seconds left in a playoff game against the 49ers.
Yeah,
that is embarrassing. Okay,
enough with the Cowboys. We're going to go back to the Giants now. I hate to go back to the Giants, but I get your point.
I don't know why I'm ranting about the Cowboys.
It's
am a
because
Giants
you're a Giants fan. That's why, is because your hatred for the Cowboys. It makes sense, okay?
No, but
what
I'm saying right now is I'm saying stuff that can eventually help out the Cowboys. I don't know why I'm saying that.
Yeah, just
I don't
stop
think
talking.
Dak is a good quarterback.
Stop talking about it.
No.
Okay, you're trying to help the Cowboys.
No.
Don't do that. Anyway, so the Giants have looked better against Dallas that one game, but they've still struggled really bad. Now, granted, they do have Jackson Dart starting this weekend, which, like you mentioned, I don't know if it's the right time. Even Dexter Lawrence, you saw his comments on it. He was like, well, I don't really have much of a say of what's going on. He's going to be our quarterback now, so we just kind of have to roll with it. There's not really much I could do. Now, I'm not saying that he doesn't think that Dart's going to be good enough, but I think he's just fed up to the point where he's seen so many quarterback changes now, too. It's kind of like, at this point, you want to go with Dart, go with Dart. There's nothing I could do. I just got to go out and play my game. I get it. I can understand why he said that. I don't know if I agree with it either. I think that every quarterback that gets drafted, that gets rushed in, it never ends up being beneficial to their career. And I think it would be better if he had the full year of development. That being said, a lot of Giant fans were all calling for Jackson Dart to be starting now. Even in the game against the Chiefs, they were chanting, "We want Dart. We want Dart."
Okay.
And Dayball's doing it to save his ass.
He is. I'm not going to deny that. He is. I said it. I was at my friend's house, and I said, if I see Russell Wilson out there in the third quarter, I'm going to be upset. I said, put Jameis in, let him do the same exact thing that Russell Wilson's doing. But you know what the thing is with Jameis? Is that I will enjoy it. I do not enjoy seeing Russell Wilson go out there and play sloppy. But if I see Jameis go out there and throw moonballs to Malik Neighbors every 4 plays, I will laugh my ass off because you can't hate Jameis Winston. We said it last week, and I'm
We've said
saying
it
it
multiple
again.
weeks.
Jameis Winston is funny.
Yeah,
he is hilarious.
He is. And
I don't understand, right? Even my friend said it like 2 weeks ago. Like he goes, I don't care if we throw Jameis out there. Like Russ is just bad.
yeah, it's
I
not
don't
pretty.
I don't understand the point where, okay, like you have a package for Dart. You send them out there for 2 plays, and then you bring them back on the side. If you're gonna put Dart out there, this is what I agree with. If you're gonna put Dart out there for a package and you're confident that he can run one package during the game, then just put him on the field. If you're
agree with that.
If you're using him in certain points of the game in certain areas only, then just let him play. Let him play fully. But if you're gonna let him sit on the bench and not even have a package for him, then let him sit on the bench.
Yeah. No, I can definitely agree with that.
That's what I'm like upset about.
And going back to it,
because what Dable was doing was he was like teasing the Giants fans. They put him in
Big time.
and whenever they put Dart in the game, he hasn't thrown a single pass yet.
No, but that's my point. Even being is Dayball is now doing it because he's trying to save his ass, and he knows that this is his guy that he wanted. This is the guy that they wanted in the draft.
They traded back up to get him.
They traded back up to get him. This is the guy he wants. So he figures that if he can go out and play well, it may save his job. Now, granted, even if he does play better, I would still fire him because I don't think that they're still going to win many games with a rookie in Jackson Dart. But
I've been seeing this all over social media. I've been seeing this all over Instagram, X, whatever. Fire Dable, fire Shane,
Yep.
fire the defensive coordinator.
That's, yeah.
And you want to know who you hired to replace those 3? John Gruden to replace Dable,
Wow. That's
Antonio Pierce to replace the defensive coordinator, and the assistant GM to replace Joe Shane.
Listen, I ain't going to dispute that.
I've been seeing it.
I'm not going to dispute that.
And you look at Gruden loves Dart.
Well, I don't know about his whole.
Yeah. I don't
You
know about.
spend all them years
I don't
clapping.
know about his.
You spend all them seasons clapping. Yeah,
but what's your snap count? Let me hear the snap count.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Excuse me? And he goes, well, what if you're changing the play? Like, what if you're bluffing it? Oh, we called it purple. And what's that? That's it. Stupid. But
he also doesn't like how reckless Dart plays. But what I'm saying is I think I would be happy if they go out and they go get Gruden. I wouldn't be.
It's ballsy.
It is ballsy.
It's very ballsy. But at this point, I don't know if it could be much worse than that.
Exactly.
But
let me talk. I'm a Giants fan. Let me talk about it.
Okay.
The only bright spot that I will say that happened in the Chiefs game, right, is that Cam Scatterbo has arrived in the NFL.
He has.
You look at the way he plays running back, and you literally could. He plays the game like an old school running back.
He does. Smash mouth football.
He's like a white Brandon Jacobs, like almost, because Brandon Jacobs wasn't afraid to go get contact, to go. You saw him. He heard what's his face, one of the edge rushers for the Chiefs.
I remember.
He went. He blocked him and he put him on his ass, and then he got taken out of the game because he was hurt.
He's a monster. He
looks like he's speed running like CTE. He's like I'm sorry, but he is.
My God!
He
speed running CTE.
He does.
Good God.
You can't tell me he doesn't.
I'm not.
There's another play.
It's just the way that it's said.
I think he was like either going to make a block, or he had the football in his hand and he was trying to get more yards against Jalen Johnson, or number 30. I think it's 35. I don't know if it's Jalen Johnson, but you just saw him completely spear his like body into the ribs of the cornerback or something.
Yeah, I know, but he's going to end up being very good for the Giants. I like him a lot. I'm surprised he went as low as he did.
He fell to the 4th.
That was shocking, but I think that was a big pickup for them. But the way that I'm kind of going to transition this a little bit, but obviously we'll close it out with the Jets a little bit, is who is worse to watch, the Jets or the Giants? For me, I'm going to sit here and say this is my answer to it. I'm going to say the Jets are worse to watch because they just don't make the playoffs. The Giants have their moments and little blips in the past couple years where they find ways to make the playoffs. The Jets, obviously, you mentioned, have not made the playoffs since 2010. So long-term suffering-wise, it's the New York Jets. But how bad a season gets, it is the New York Giants to watch.
You can't.
Both teams, in my opinion, this is how I'll end it here, need therapy, alcohol, and tissues because they have quite the roller coaster ride every single year, and I don't understand. I give you guys a lot of credit for following and sitting there watching. Like, I know you watch my boy Billy. Shout out to him. I know he watches a lot of the games too and doesn't miss, and it's like putting yourself through 3.5 hours of torture every single weekend for the fun of it is absolute madman and like tactics and nasty work.
It's not fun. It's just the Giants are on.
They're committed.
I'm gonna watch them because they're my favorite team.
But that's my thing is that takes commitment. That's commitment, and people will never understand that. So Giants and Jet fans, my hats are off to you. I hope for the best for you guys in the next couple of years. I just feel so bad. Good God.
I'm not gonna do this, right? But I'm saying what some Giants and Jets fans might do. They might say they're a fan of the team and not watch the games.
That's not a fan.
But what they're doing is right. They say, "Oh, I love football, but I don't watch what they might." Because in today's day and age, if you're a Giants fan and then you say, "Oh, like they're terrible," I'm gonna go root for somebody else. You're gonna be called a bandwagon.
That's not a Giants fan. That's not a fan. If you do that for any of your teams, you're not a fan. It's the way it goes. So I can understand that. Now we're gonna get into a couple quick debate points here. Again, I'm sorry for the Jets and Giants fans. Things will turn around at some point.
Also, I will say this: if the Giants don't realize that it's not the quarterback of this problem, or it's the system, it's the playbooks, it's everything. Clean house, just clean house.
Yeah, it'll never change until they clean house.
You look at the players that left the Giants, and they're doing amazing.
Yeah,
the Jets.
Saquon.
I don't know if the Jets cleaned house yet, but they should probably do the same thing. You had Geno Smith play well for 2 seasons in Seattle. You have Sam Darnold playing well now. You got. Zach Wilson hasn't had his chance to play well yet, but Zach Wilson won't
he ain't
play
gonna
well.
do it. The Dolphins system is just as bad, if not worse. So,
that's another thing I wanted to talk about. The Dolphins. Mike McDaniels needs to be fired.
Yeah, there are 3 coaches right now that I think that are very, very close to being fired. 3 of them:
Mike McDaniel,
Brian Daboll, and I believe his name is Davis Allen, the head coach. Dennis Allen, the coach of the New Orleans Saints. Those are going to be the 3 coaches that I think that are going to end up getting fired. I wouldn't fire the Titans head coach. They don't have enough. You're not going to fire the Patriots head coach because he just came there. It's year one for Mike Vrabel. There's no point in doing that. There's not many other coaches that I see really getting fired right now other than those 3. You're not going to fire Aaron Glenn either. So those 3.
Or Kevin O'Connell.
No. Or Zach Taylor. I wouldn't fire Zach Taylor from the Bengals either. It ain't his fault that they don't have Joe Burrow now. So I don't see a lot of other coaches getting fired.
What about the Cardinals head coach?
No. McDonald, I wouldn't fire him either. They just lost James Conner for pretty much the entire season. I'm assuming it's the entire season. They still have a lot of weapons that really aren't performing to their highest yet. The biggest thing that I think is they may need to move off of Kyler Murray.
I'm not opposed of them doing that.
And it's just because they've given him time. They've given him some weapons. It hasn't worked out. Especially in the big moments, he has not been able to do it. When he played the Rams in the playoffs, he was horrible. So I don't know. It may be time to move off of him, but I think it's too early to fire their head coach as well. But the 5, we're going to do a little speed round here. We'll try and go through it really quick. These are just 5 quick points that we're going to talk about after the week 3 that we just witnessed. So, number 1 question. Should the Lions be considered as NFC favorites right now?
No.
I also agree no. I don't think that they should be favorites yet. I definitely do see them as contenders if they continue going the way that they're going. To say that they're NFC favorites is a little tough. That's a tall task. There's a lot of very good teams in the NFC.
Exactly.
You have the Eagles, you have the Bucs, you have the Rams. You got other teams that are going to be very, very good towards the end of the season. The 49ers are no joke right now, even though they're playing with backup.
We literally just said they're no joke, but their schedule is very easy.
Yeah. Well, they may not win, but getting a lot of those guys back, hey, you never know. I agree with you. I still don't think that they're good enough to be contenders, which we didn't even say the Packers. The Packers are definitely up there too. To say that they are favorites, though, is a reach. I saw a lot of people saying, they should be considered.
They definitely are contenders.
No question. But favorites? No. I'm not going to agree with that. Number 2, did the Browns this past weekend expose Jordan Love in not being able to come up big in the big moments? I'm going to say no to that as well, but the reason why I say no is he's already kind of proved that he's not going to do that great against some of the most elite defenses. He did the same thing against the 49ers a couple years ago, and it could be something that could change, but as of right now, he's going to be labeled as the guy that can't do it in the big moments. He's going to be. And it's a shame that I have to say it that way, but the Browns kind of just, they have a good defense. Jordan Love panicked, and it shows that he's really just not, going to be able to do it in some of these big moments, but I'm not going to say the Browns exposed him and made him, now he's not big enough. No, hadn't been
I'm
going
to argue this. You can make an argument that the Lions have a good defense.
You can.
And he dog-walked the Lions.
Yeah, he did. But you know what? It was a lot of the run game, though, too. Their run game was very good that day. Josh Jacobs is, again, I don't think Josh Jacobs gets enough credit for being as good. I think that he could potentially be the number 3 running back in football right now. To be completely honest
with you. Didn't he lead the league like 4 years ago?
Between Saquon, Derrick Henry, those are the top 2 in my opinion, even with Derrick Henry having his fumbling problems. Number 3, I'm going Josh Jacobs. McCaffrey still scares me a little bit with his his Achilles, but Josh Jacobs for me is the number 3 running back in football. And people will say, well, what about Jahmyr Gibbs? What about David Montgomery? What about some of these other guys? Listen, no disrespect to them too. They're very good. But Josh Jacobs is an absolute dog.
Right now, I'm keeping McCaffrey off this list only because of his Achilles. Saquon, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Bijan, Gibbs.
I could definitely agree with a list that's somewhat like that too. So, no doubt. Number 3 now. We'll move on. Is Caleb Williams officially better than Justin Fields ever was in Chicago? Is he already better?
I didn't answer question 2.
Oh, did you not?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry. I cut you off there.
I also don't think that the Browns exposed Jordan Love. Like you said, he has struggled against good defenses, but I don't think that the Browns exposed him. I think what happened was, yet again, they were on the road. It's not a home playoff, like home game or like a home whatever. Because obviously when you're playing on the road, it doesn't matter if you go travel to see the Packers play. Whatever team has more jerseys in the stands is obviously going to have the advantage with the crowd.
Yeah.
Because crowd does play a factor.
Oh, of course it does. It's professional sports.
Exactly.
All these guys are good enough for a reason.
So there's that, but I think Love is going to be great. Like, if Love continues to play how he did before the Browns, like we said last week, he could be an MVP candidate. Like, maybe. one thing that the Packers are really good at doing is drafting a good quarterback. I don't believe they've had a bad quarterback since they drafted Favre. Like, if you look at it, right? I'm going to rant about this for like a minute. Every NFL team is supposed to have a 5 to 6 year or 4 to 6 year gap of a revolving door with quarterbacks that are supposed to suck and they're supposed to be a bridge quarterback until you get your next quarterback of the future, right? That's not the case with the Packers because the Packers had Favre. They drafted Aaron Rodgers, let Rodgers sit behind Favre. Then Rodgers came out, and Aaron Rodgers. He won 3 MVPs with the Packers. And then you did the same thing with Jordan Love, and it's just like Jordan Love is picking up right where Aaron Rodgers left off.
It's hard to say. I know what you're saying.
I'm not like, because Jordan Love's career is still, like, he's still young, but it's looking like Jordan Love is being a quarterback that's not going to be a bridge quarterback.
Well, yeah, I'm assuming he's probably not going to be a bridge quarterback either, but still, he's not on the level of Aaron Rodgers or Favre yet. He's got a long way to go, but that's why I said I don't think they really
I'm saying Jordan Love is a good quarterback.
Yeah, he's okay.
Teams are not supposed to have 3 consecutive quarterbacks back to back to back.
It's very, very rare, and it's hats off to the Packers management that they're able to pull that off. That's impressive.
Now, question 3, you said, is Caleb Williams already better than Justin Fields ever was in Chicago?
I'm going to say throwing the ball wise, yes. Overall, with the stats and results, no.
I'm going to say, well, I kind of agree with that, but I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Only because we talked about this last week with Chicago trading up to pick 11 to get Justin Fields. They thought that was their guy, right? And they let him go out there, and they didn't really give him anything for the first year.
No, they gave him nothing.
And then the year after that, they traded for DJ Moore. And I believe they got DJ Moore because they had the first pick, and Carolina wanted the first pick. And Carolina, I believe, had the 3rd pick or something. I don't know what pick they had.
It was close. It was 2 or 3, I think.
It might have been... No, it was... I think they had the 4th pick because it was Carolina, and I know the Texans had back-to-back picks because they drafted Stroud and Will Anderson in the first round. So they gave up DJ Moore and a first-round pick to get the first overall pick that year, right? And everyone's like, oh, he has DJ Moore, Donald Mooney's going to do better. That wasn't the case.
No.
But you look at it, right? Then the Panthers don't look that great with Bryce Young his rookie year.
No, they did not.
And then the Bears are in a position where they're like, hey, we're going to have the first overall pick again. Because the Panthers don't have it. We do.
And that's when they took Caleb Williams, no?
Yeah, that's when they took Caleb Williams. But
Yeah.
What I don't understand is if you go out on a limb, trade up 9 spots to go get a quarterback that you say is your guy, and don't build a team. They already have a team built around Caleb Williams better than they even attempted to build around Justin Fields.
Well, that's kind of what I said, too, is that Justin Fields never had the weapons that Caleb Williams has.
He didn't have
never
the proper opportunity to have
I agree.
a shot to be good with the Bears that Caleb Williams does. I believe if you put Justin Fields on the roster now, he's putting up the same exact stats that Caleb Williams does.
See, that's where I disagree a little bit.
Well, I'm not saying the same exact stats, but he will just be as serviceable as Caleb Williams.
That I can agree with, yes. He will definitely be more serviceable, but I'm not going to sit here and say that
Justin Fields is not going to be a better passer than Caleb Williams. He isn't. We already established that.
That was my point.
I established that last week by saying he's kind of getting the running back allegations like Lamar did, but then Lamar went out and he fixed that, and now he's a dual threat quarterback.
But that was my point.
Yes,
that was my point.
Justin Fields has not had the proper chance to have a team properly built around him.
Agreed.
And I think the Jets giving him the 2-year contract realized that, okay, maybe this year we're not going to be the team that is supposed to fit well for Justin Fields, but next year we can make sure we have the money to go out in free agency and get what we need.
And that's possible.
And
like
have the assets in the draft to go pick who we need to make sure Justin Fields has what's needed for him to succeed in the league.
Now, and that's kind of what we were saying with the whole Aaron Glenn situation. It's only 1 year. Give him another year to kind of build and give him some opportunity, and who knows? Could be a lot better. We'll actually kind of skip number 4 because we do want to get through some college football and baseball stuff as well. But I will say the last one that we got to talk about real quick here is, did Week 3 prove that Micah Parsons is more valuable to the Dallas Cowboys, or was more valuable to the Dallas Cowboys than Dak Prescott currently is? I'm going to say
I would have answered this question at the beginning of the season, and I would have said yes.
I'm still going to answer yes.
Before they traded him, I don't understand what they were doing. Jerry Jones, I don't know why he's still the GM of the team. He hasn't really done anything like correct. Like, he hasn't really done. I'm not gonna say he hasn't done anything good because he did draft both Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb, he hasn't made any smart decisions. You draft Micah Parsons, who is 20. I believe he's 26 years old, entering the prime of his career.
You trade him.
And he is arguably, not even arguably, you could say he's the best pass rusher in the NFL. He's amazing. He's a linebacker out of Penn State. One thing for sure that you're going to get, that you know they're going to be a stud, usually it's a tight end from Iowa and a linebacker from Penn State.
Yeah, or running back from Alabama. Or wide receivers from LSU.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to miss.
It's hard to miss.
You're 100% right. Now, the thing that I do want to say about it, though, is not only that, but we know one of the biggest quotes that we hear all the time. Offense wins games. Defense wins championships.
Exactly.
Micah Parsons was so important to Dallas because of how good he was defensively and the way he would change the game. But not only was he able to do that to help Dallas's defense, it also helped Dak. Because when your defense is strong, Dak doesn't have to come out and be perfect.
Exactly.
He just has to come out and be efficient.
Exactly. What Jerry Jones didn't see was Micah Parsons. You saw Dallas's pass rush be more efficient when Micah Parsons was on the team. And it wasn't always Micah Parsons getting to the quarterback because you had guards double teaming, maybe even triple teaming Micah Parsons, which allowed other pass rushers to go right through the gap and put pressure on the quarterback, which led to Trayvon Diggs getting interceptions, Deron Bland getting interceptions. And with that being said, you have the defense putting up points consistently.
Yep.
And that led to Dak being allowed to throw 2 or 3 interceptions a game and get away with it. Now, if Dak throws 2 or 3 interceptions in a game,
they're going to get blown out.
They got blown out by the Bears.
Yeah.
The Bears aren't a good team.
I know, but that was kind of my point.
They let the Giants throw 37 points on them.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's bad.
It's very bad. But that's why I said, I think a lot of people will disagree with that and say, well, Dak is... No. It has nothing to do with Dak not being valuable. It has to do with the fact that Micah was more valuable because it would make Dak's job that much easier.
Dak doesn't have the it factor to bring the Cowboys to the next level.
Whereas Micah Parsons did.
Micah Parsons already was showing that because with him on the team, everybody just didn't really care about the other defensive linemen. They said, we have to stop Micah Parsons or we won't get any yards offensively.
Yeah, 100%. Now, we will kind of move on from the at least questions and debate here. We'll run through this really quick. I know we did see that Seattle beat Arizona last night by a score 23-20. That game, I don't know if it proved more that the Seahawks aren't as good or the Cardinals without James Conner aren't really as bad as people are thinking that they were going to be. But boy, oh boy. Oof. Thank God that was a Thursday game because that was just not...
Also, one thing I do want to speak about. Is Marvin Harrison Jr. a bust?
No. He played much, much better in the second half last night. Much, much better. It's going to take time. Listen, I still don't think that Kyler Murray's the set answer for them either.
I know. I don't think Kyler Murray's the set answer, but looking back at when they played the Niners last week, right?
I know he had a couple big drops. I get it.
No, he had a big drop. He was wide open, and the ball was thrown right at him.
Hey.
You can't. No. Don't
saw the same thing with Quentin Johnson, and look at how good he's been this year.
Yeah, but it's the second year new offensive scheme with Harbaugh. That's probably what it was. Harbaugh probably told him, hey, if you got to learn how to catch the football, otherwise next season you're off the team. And Johnson was probably like, well, you know what? I'm going to figure out what's wrong and fix it.
I'm not going to dispute that either, but still, I think people are getting too hard on him. He did end up finishing the game last night, I believe, with 6 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown. He was much better in the second half. It's going to take him some time.
To take time, yes, but I understand, right? When you have a player like him, like Malik Neighbors, like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, coming out of college, being the number 1 receiver in your draft class, respectively, right? It shouldn't take this amount of time.
I'm not going to dispute that either.
It shouldn't take this much time for you to prove in the NFL that you still have. He was phenomenal.
I know,
he was
a stud
State.
at Ohio State.
He was a stud at Ohio State.
But that's why I feel like a lot of people are so harsh on him, especially there's that and the fact that he's a Harrison. His father, those are hard shoes to fill. His father was one of the best wide receivers that I ever watched growing up when I was young.
Yeah, he's one of the best receivers to ever play the game. But
my point exactly.
But looking at it, right? I mean, I guess you could say the quarterback had a factor because he had Peyton Manning throwing him the ball. But what I don't understand, right, is that in today's NFL, right, what's going to happen if they don't move off of Kyler Murray is people are going to look at Marvin Harrison Jr. and be like, he's not the player everybody thought he was going to be. He is ruining his father's legacy by playing in the league. He's not doing all this and that. And then the Cardinals are going to wind up trading him.
And then he'll end up going to another team and being a star.
He'll go to another team and he will be a star. Like, they have to move off of Kyler Murray before they move off of Marvin Harrison Jr.
I agree, but that's why I'm saying that he's not a bust, is because it's still early. There's a lot of question marks with the Cardinals. I think it's too early to say that he's a bust. Now, if he ends up getting traded and goes to another team and still sucks, yeah, he's a bust, no doubt. But again, I think it's still very early.
I don't think he is the wide receiver 1 out of that draft class, though.
No, I don't. I agree.
He was the first wide receiver taken off of the board, and I am happy for that. I am thankful that that was the case because that led to the Giants drafting Malik Neighbors. And I do believe that if Malik Neighbors was taken over Marvin Harrison Jr., I don't know if the Giants would have taken Marvin Harrison Jr. I think they might have traded for J.J. McCarthy, and I'm happy that didn't happen.
Well, thank God that didn't happen for
exactly.
you. But now we'll run through. We're just going to go through game, who you pick, who I pick. Ready? We'll make this nice and quick for this week because we already saw the game last night. Vikings versus Steelers in Dublin.
Steelers.
I'm taking the Steelers. I'm going for that. Chargers at Giants.
I want to say it.
Say it.
Giants.
Okay. I'm going Chargers. Titans at Texans. Battle of the 0-3s.
Texans.
I'm going Texans as well, too. I don't think the Titans got it. Commanders at Falcons.
Commanders.
I'm going to take the Commanders as well.
Is Daniels playing?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't even know if McLaurin's playing. I think he's out too. I'm still taking the Texans. Christian Kirk is going to be coming back this week as well too. So
that they're playing the Falcons.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, well, I'm still not taking the Falcons. Sorry. Saints at Bills. Bills. Thank you. Eagles at Bucks.
I'm taking the Bucks.
I am also taking the Bucks as well too. I think the Bucks get the win. Browns at Lions.
Lions.
Yep, that's agreeable. Panthers at Patriots. I'm going Patriots.
I'm going Patriots.
Panthers ain't going to win back-to-back weeks. I'm taking the Patriots to win.
Nah, you know what? I'm going the Panthers. I'm taking the Panthers to win this week.
Okay, we'll differ on that one. I'm still going Patriots. Jaguars at 49ers.
I'm taking the 49ers.
I'm taking the Jaguars this week. I think they start out 3-1. They want to compete for that division, and they're sitting right behind Indianapolis right now. Still the 49ers a little bit banged up. Would not be surprised.
I'm taking the 49ers.
Okay, that's fair. Colts at Rams. I think it's fair to say who I'm going with. I'm going with the Rams.
Give me Indiana Jones.
Okay, you taking the Colts. That's bold, but that's fine. Ravens at Chiefs.
I'm taking the Ravens.
I'm also taking the
Chiefs,
Ravens.
The Chiefs don't look like the Chiefs right now.
Well, they still need all their pieces back, but I think the Ravens need the win more than the Chiefs do. So I'm going to take the Ravens. The Bears at the Raiders. Horrible game.
I'm taking the Raiders.
I'm also going to take the Raiders this week. I think that they come back and actually get their second win. I don't think the Bears are all that great. The revenge game. Packers at Cowboys. That's the primetime game.
I think Dallas is going to lose.
Oh, yeah, the Packers are winning this week, no question about it. Monday night, 2 horrible games. Jets at Dolphins. I'm going to take the New York Jets.
I am also going to take the Jets.
I don't know if I think this is the week where if they lose,
Mike McDaniels is gone.
So I would not be surprised. And then the final game of the week is going to be Bengals at Broncos.
I'm taking the Broncos.
I am also going to take the Broncos.
I don't think I'm picking the Bengals this year
to do anything.
Now that Joe Burrow's.
Yeah, as long as Joe Burrow's out, that's gone. But then we do also have a little bit of college football that we'll try and get through quick, and then we'll wrap up with some baseball because we did go fairly long already. So we have 4 games this week that I'm really looking forward to. First off, you're going to have the number 17 Alabama Crimson Tide taking on the number 5 Georgia. So Alabama's heading into this week with a 2-1 record, going on the road, trying to rebound from their season opener while riding the momentum they've had the last 2 weeks with solid wins. Passing game starting to finally look a little bit better under Ty Simpson. They are adding back running back Jam Miller as well as their defensive tackle Tim Keenan III. They are both going to boost Alabama's offensive and defensive defensive balance. The 3-0 Bulldogs enter with some confidence after a dramatic win over Tennessee last week, which was quite the game to watch. They kind of look to leverage their defensive pedigree. The Bulldogs usually excel really well when it comes to SEC showdowns that they're playing at home, so that'll be a tough game. But the big thing that they're going to be concerned about is their pass coverage. They also may be down their starting right tackle on offense, Ernest Green, who is actually doubtful. He's going on his third year as a starter for their offensive line. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I would not be surprised if it is. I'm actually surprisingly going to take Alabama to win this. I know as an Alabama guy myself, I want to go with Georgia because Alabama has not been good on the road. I just feel like Alabama kind of gets their swagger back a little bit this week. This is going to be a big game for them. If they lose this week, chances of them making the playoffs are going to be a lot more slim. So this is a game they need to win, whereas Georgia can afford to lose. I'm going to take Alabama to win 34-31. Then you have USC ranked number 21 at Illinois, who's ranked number 23. Illinois is coming off a very, very bad loss, losing 63-10 to Indiana last week. The Trojans, however, are 4-0, and the offense under Jordan Mailata has been incredible for them to start so far. They are on fire. They're scoring over 50 points per game as of right now. They're favored by about 6.5. I'm going to take USC to win this week 31-24. Then you have another game which a lot of people were talking about on social media this week because you have LSU, who's ranked as number 4, versus Ole Miss, who's ranked number 13. And the reason why a lot of people are talking about is because Lane Kiffin, I think it's Lane Kiffin's daughter, is now dating the linebacker on the LSU Tigers, and they hard launched their relationship on social media the week before they play, and people were going bananas over that. I know that's a big trending thing. So
that is, I wouldn't do that.
I thought that was very ballsy. I was very surprised that they posted that.
Very ballsy.
But again, that's the way of the world now. I'm very surprised by the whole announcement. But you got two SEC teams.
Not only is it ballsy because they're two SEC teams, right? But think about it when it's the summertime and there's no school.
Yeah.
The daughter's gonna bring the linebacker around Lane Kiffin?
I guess so. But, I guess he didn't really know about it that much either. But still, you have two undefeated SEC teams going head-to-head against one another at Ole Miss, which is in Oxford. So you got a tough game going there. Ole Miss has been averaging over 540 yards per game of offense. They show balance through both the pass and the run. Meanwhile, LSU has had one of the better defenses in college football as of right now. As of right now, I am hearing that Ole Miss is expected to start their backup quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss, at quarterback because Austin Simmons has an ankle issue. So the betting lines are a little bit closer as of right now, but I think with a quarterback making his debut against a top defensive unit in college football, I think that's going to call for some issues. So I'm going to take LSU as well. I'm going to take them to win 27-17. Now the big game of the week that I do want to talk about is the Oregon Ducks, who are ranked number 6 in the country, heading to Happy Valley to take on the number 3 Penn State Nittany Lions. They're supposed to do a whiteout this week. I know that that's quite the environment to play at. This is going to be a big matchup that we saw them play against each other, obviously, last year. Super high tensions, great game. Oregon did pull out on top. Obviously, Oregon was very, very good last year. But for me, I think that with a little bit of experience behind Drew Aller, being the quarterback that he's in his senior year, versus Dante Moore, who's a very new quarterback. He just started with it, as the starting quarterback this year for Oregon. I think that's going to be a tough environment for him to go into. I would not be surprised if Penn State's able to get a little bit of the edge, as a lot of experts are predicting them to have. And I think that it's going to be a close game still. I think Dante Moore is still a very, very good quarterback, but I'm going to take Penn State to win by a final score of 31-28 this week. Now, to finish off the show, we're just going to touch a little bit on it. I don't want to run too long on this, but we do have some baseball news that will be finishing off our show today. So as of today, the New York Yankees are currently in a tie for first place.
Well, I was gonna let you go first so we don't end the show on like depressing news because of the Mets.
Okay, you want me to go first
Yeah,
and
you
talk
go-
about
you
the
go
Mets
talk about
then?
the Mets first, yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about the Mets first. All right, so, well, obviously the Yankees still are in a battle for first place of the AL East. On the other side of New York, though, you have the New York Mets, who are currently holding on to a one-game lead for the final wild card spot in the National League. They have only 2 teams behind them now, as all of the other teams have been eliminated. Those 2 teams are the Cincinnati Reds and the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Mets only have 3 games left, and it is
I think every team only has 3 games left.
well, you get my point.
Yes.
Still, there's 3 games left in the year. It's the final 3-game set of the season. They are traveling to Miami to play the Miami Marlins. They even went out of their way and moved back star pitcher, who, even though he hasn't really had a great year this year, Sandy Alcantara, will be making his start against the Mets tonight. That's going to be a tough matchup, and I know the Marlins are really going to want to knock the Mets out of the playoffs, being division rivals. The Marlins were just eliminated from playoff contention the other day, so they are not really playing for a purpose. Their sole purpose right now is to knock the Mets out. So the Mets have 3 games that they need to basically win out, unless they can hope that the Cincinnati Reds drop a few games to the Milwaukee Brewers, which is very doable, and then the Diamondbacks drop a couple games to the San Diego Padres, which is also very doable. But as a Mets fan, I'm going to sit here and say this right now.
Mets are going to Met.
No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to try and be a little positive here, even though I've been negative a lot of the time. They need to win these 3 games. I don't want them to have to worry about what other teams need to do. If you want to make the playoffs, you need to do it yourself. They need to go out and win 3 games. If you win 3 games, you make the playoffs, your record goes away, it doesn't matter anymore. You start out 0-0 going into October. So if I'm the Mets right now, they need to step up big time. They took 2 of 3 against the Cubs, which was very impressive. The 1 game that they lost was absolutely horrendous to watch, but the 2 wins were very, very good. I just hope and pray to God, please, if you want to make the playoffs, it's 3 games. Just beat the Marlins. That's all I ask. You can let Cincinnati and the Arizona Diamondbacks do their thing. It's not going to matter. You just have to win 3 games. You control your own destiny. Please make the playoffs. If you don't make the playoffs, Carlos Mendoza, pack your bags, brother. You're done. Now you can talk about the New York Yankees.
Now, like Zach said, the New York Yankees are tied for first in the American League East, but they lose the tiebreaker to the Toronto Blue Jays because Toronto beat them more than the Yankees beat Toronto in the regular season.
Yeah.
What I understand why they switched it, but I liked it better. I'm not saying this because I'm a Yankee fan and I'm biased. I just thought that it made it more interesting that when teams were tied, they did a 1-game.
I do like that as well, too.
I did like that because it's like, okay, maybe teams struggle during the regular season, and maybe those stretches do happen to come at bad times.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was a lot more like entertaining to see them play. Oh, they added an extra game because we're tied. Like, I feel like that would have been amazing to see. But what I will say is that even if the Yankees don't win 1 more game than the Blue Jays do, they did secure a home. They did secure the top spot for the wild card. So whether or not they are the division winner or not, they are playing at home.
Yeah, which will be nice for them.
Yeah, but I will say the Blue Jays are playing Tampa Bay, and I know Tampa Bay did give them a problem last time they played, so I'm hoping they do the same thing.
It's very possible.
But what I will say is the Yankees are ending their 3 games with the Orioles, and I'm going to say one thing, that a lot of people come to New York and they can't live up to the pressure, and they're told, oh, you're not going to be this, you're not going to be that, right? Max Fried was handed $209 million over 8 years. He took the deal, right? They told him, come to the team. You'll be like a second ace to Garrett Cole. You'll be the second rotation spot. We'll have Rodon in the 3rd spot, right? Garrett Cole goes down. And Max Fried is then told, you are the star ace of this rotation. The season lives or dies on your performance.
He lived up.
He goes out there and he wins 19 games and only loses 5 with 189 strikeouts. with a 2.86 ERA.
He was very,
and
very
a
efficient this year.
1.10 whip.
Yep. I'm telling you, he had a great year.
And then another guy I mentioned, Carlos Rodon, who struggled in his previous 2 seasons with the Yankees.
He's been much better.
Went out there and he did the same. The ERA isn't the same, but he more or less did the same thing as Fried did. He went 18-9. No, not 18-9. He went 18-9 with a 3.09 ERA.
Not bad.
203 strikeouts.
He was about to say he just cracked 200.
He just cracked 200 last night, and he has a 1.05 whip.
Yeah, he's had a very good year this year as well, too. It's been impressive.
Other than that, I mean, I can't complain. The Yankees have been, like, okay, maybe during the end of July, early August, I thought that there was a chance they weren't going to make the playoffs.
Well, it's not.
I might have said it on here, but now, I mean, even the other night, you saw them down by, what was it? Down by 1 going into the 9th.
Yeah,
and they won it in extras. Like
that was a big win for them, and I'm pretty sure that was to clinch their final playoff or to clinch the playoffs as well too.
It was to clinch the playoffs. I don't even think they won it in extras. I think they won it in the 9th.
No, they won it in the bottom of the 9th.
Yeah.
What did I say? Extras by accident?
No, I said extras.
No, they won in the bottom of the 9th.
And then they went out and they won on Wednesday, and then even last night, right? They went out and Toronto beat Boston, but they were down by 2 in bottom of the 5th or bottom of the 6th, and Stan hit a base clearing double. You just have to feel that like this is a team that could go on a run in October, because once October starts, like you said, record doesn't matter.
Nope.
You could have the last wild card spot, and you could go on a run to the World Series like the Diamondbacks did 2 years ago.
Yeah, and other teams have done in prior years as well, too. Anything can happen. That's why we love October baseball.
Exactly.
I just hope that both New York teams can be part of it this year, because I think even if the Mets do make it, now granted their pitching hasn't been as great, you never know what can happen in October.
Exactly.
Because the pressure is going to hit for everybody, so it'll be very interesting to see what happens. I hope that both teams make it. If not, I'm going to be rooting a little bit for the Yankees as well, too, to hope that somebody from New York actually brings one home. I really hope that the Mets do make it. But
I will say is that as of late, the rotation has looked good. But if I am Aaron Boone and I want to save my job, you should not start Will Warren in a playoff game at all. Will Warren should see the mound for 1 inning max, maybe 2 if you're up by 4 runs.
Yeah, maybe.
I
don't even
do
know
not want to see him in the starting rotation. Your rotation is Fried, Rodon, Heel,
and Schlittler.
Those are your 4 pitchers that you need to win a series in the playoffs.
I agree with you 100% there.
If you go to a 7-game series, don't say, we need a 5th starter and put Will Warren out there. You will lose that game.
Yeah, no question about it. And you can't afford to lose any games in the playoffs.
Not in the playoffs. Will Warren's pitching tonight. If they want to clinch the division, they have to win tonight. And Will Warren, his ERA is 4-something.
Yeah.
That's bad.
He's got to get a big start for them tonight.
I understand that Will Warren is young, and I'm not saying he doesn't have the it factor yet. I'm just saying he's struggled. He's a rookie. He's expected to struggle.
Yeah, no question.
But if the Yankees want to make a run, because Jazz Chisholm has said we're here to take the division, and then we're going to win a World Series. Well, if that's the case, they need to wise up, and they need to realize that Schlittler was the best decision they could have made around the deadline when Clark Schmidt got hurt. They brought Schlittler up, and they didn't trade him, and they kept him. The best decision they could have done was exactly what they did with Cam Schlittler.
Yeah, it was smart. But they really need to hunker down here and win these last couple of games to win themselves a division. Mets need to do the same thing to win themselves that wild card spot. So you could see both New York teams. Obviously, the Yankees already made it, but you got to see both New York teams hopefully in October. That being said, thank you guys so much for tuning into the Straight Outta Stratford podcast, episode number 14. I'm your host, Zach, along with my co-host, Julian.
And we will be back here next week to record episode 15.
See you next week.